is provided by Wells Fargo. Our support of Aggie students goes beyond just banking. By supporting News 22, we're giving back to the community. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far.
Tonight on News 22.
The NMSU community is split after a plan to take money from academics and give it to athletics.
And the battle over the Rio Grande water goes to the U.S. Supreme Court.
And a new plan to market New Mexico pecans.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Javier Gutierrez.
And I'm Selena Madrid. The New Mexico State University Board of Regents says no to the plan to transfer money from academics to athletics.
It was a very controversial proposal to start with, and the Regents got an earful today. I was there this afternoon when they met and heard the concerns of faculty and students.
Well, I was sort of shocked to hear it.
It's distressing because there have been so many years where academics have suffered and been kind of stripped.
Students and staff were outraged with the memo released by the University Athletic Review. It called for $1.1 million to be taken from the academics department and given to the athletics department.
Athletics, to me, is sort of icing on a cake. It has nothing to do with the core academic mission of the university.
Today, those faculty, students, and staff crowded the Regents meeting to oppose the plan. Most speakers said it flies in the face of the core mission of the university.
Forgiving the debt and reallocating these funds would rob NMSU of millions of dollars in resources that should be invested in the mission of teaching, research, service, and extension.
The memo outlined 3 areas for funding to go to: football, basketball, and retaining athletic administration. The committee cited recent successes of the football and basketball teams and the desire to keep up the momentum as the reason to take the money from academics and give it to the athletics department. Many say that's just not a good enough reason.
It's a misguided notion that just because in 2 years we've got the men's basketball and the men's football are doing well, and we should suddenly shunt more money towards them in order for them to retain their coaches. I think they should rebudget themselves is what they should do.
News 22 reached out to athletic director Mario Mocha for a comment. He wasn't available until after the airing of this newscast. We will air his comments on News 22 Wednesday. Javier Gutierrez, News 22.
After the meeting, Mario Mocha, the athletic director, told us he is not disappointed in the decision, but understands that everybody is short-handed on money. We'll have more in his interview tomorrow on News 22 Wednesday.
And in addition to Mocha's small statement, we were also able to get some input from students around campus on the issue of moving money from education to athletics.
It's a good idea because we already are paying a lot of money into tuition, and whether we like things or not, they're going to happen. And so I think athletics is coming up in the country, so I feel if we invest in that, then we can get better at our athletics department.
The athletics department's already getting money. We have people sponsoring that. We don't have people sponsoring the education. The college is already so small. We don't have the money that we need to get the supplies and everything that these students need. And it's just going to make NMSU go lower in the end because we don't have the money that we need to thrive.
I mean, athletics is great. I understand we had a great season this past football season, but I honestly feel if the funds were for education, it should stay within education, and maybe athletics could wait for a moment.
A larger portion of your tax dollars will be going to the salaries of our state's educators. On Tuesday, Governor Susana Martinez signed a bill into law that gives teachers a pay raise. Legislative analysts say that the pay raise will be felt by teachers at all levels of experience and education. This raise will take effect at the beginning of the next fiscal year. If your car gets stolen and sold to a salvage yard, they now have to report it to the police. This is due to a new bill that Governor Susana Martinez is also signing into law. The bill was crafted as a response to the huge auto theft problem that has plagued Albuquerque for the last few years. In 2016, Albuquerque had the highest amount of auto thefts in the nation. The new bill will be signed into law on Wednesday.
And check this out, Garnett Stokes has just broken the University of New Mexico's glass ceiling. For the first time in school history, UNM will be run by a female president. The 61-year-old Stokes is joining UNM after being Executive Vice Chancellor of the University of Missouri, and Stokes says she is honored and excited that she can accomplish, or what she can accomplish as president of UNM. And I actually had to bring my jacket out this morning.
Yeah, there was a light little chill in the air as we went out to class this morning.
That is right.
And Jackie is next with our first look at weather.
That's right, guys. It is actually getting really chilly right now. We're sitting at 57 degrees, looking at some mostly clear skies right now. Our winds are coming in from the north at 4 miles per hour, humidity at 0.4%, our dew point at negative 12 degrees, and a barometer at 30.12 inches. Now today we hit a high of 67 degrees, which is really close to our average of 68 degrees after an overnight low of a really chilly 34 degrees. Now taking a look back at record temperatures, back in 1972, we hit a high of 83 degrees, which is really a difference between our average until now. And we hit a low of 45 degrees back in 1977. So there's some slight differences in between from now and back then. And right now, we didn't have any kind of rain, and our yearly rainfall sits at 0.75 inches. That's all I have for your current conditions. I'll be back later with your national forecast, but for right now, back to Javi and Selena at the desk.
And a man from Mesquite is sitting in jail tonight after he allegedly stabbed another man in the neck with his car keys. Police say that 21-year-old Hector Ochoa was in a fight while at a party in Barreno, New Mexico. It was then that Ochoa put his keys between his fingers and stabbed the victim while punching him in the back of the neck. Police later arrested Ochoa while he was hiding in the attic of the house where the incident had taken place. He is currently being held without bond. And an Anthony man pleaded guilty on Monday to shooting his neighbor's dog several times with a .22 caliber rifle last June. 30-year-old Gustavo Filerio had been charged and was scheduled to go before a Las Cruces jury on Monday, but instead pleaded guilty. The dog Bebe Beto was hit 3 times when Filerio fired at least 18 rounds into the neighbor's yard. The dog survived the attack and has thankfully recovered from his injuries. Filerio faces a year in prison for using a firearm during this crime and 18 months in prison, in addition for the animal cruelty charge.
A man is in jail tonight after deliberately running his pickup truck into 3 cars and almost hitting a security guard. Police say Dale Iacofano came irate after trying to rent a room at Hotel Encanto but was told there was none available. Hotel security intervened and Iacofano left. Shortly after, he returned in his pickup truck. Security spotted him, and when he approached the truck, Iacofano accelerated, almost hitting him, but his car instead, while threatening him with a gun. He then hit 2 more vehicles in the parking lot before his arrest. Iacofano is being held without bond. A drunk teenage girl stole a sheriff's cruiser in New Mexico. She then took the vehicle on a wild ride before crashing it into a ditch.
As Jeannie Wen reports from San Juan County, the entire incident was caught on a police dash cam.
It all started on Bloomfield Highway in Farmington back in December.
Can I help you sit up?
I miss my boyfriend.
You miss your boyfriend? I'm sorry about that.
A corporal with the San Juan County Sheriff's Office got a call about a 16-year-old, Samaria Gray, staggering down the highway, then laying down in the shoulder.
I'm just here to try to help you out, okay?
Take me to jail if you can help me.
Why do you want to go to jail?
My boyfriend's there.
That's when the teen's mom shows up and tells the corporal she's been having trouble with her daughter's drinking habits. She also says Gray's boyfriend encourages her drinking.
Together, all they do is drink.
Gray's mom tells the corporal she doesn't want her daughter at the house until she's sober.
I'm going to have you sit in my truck for now while I go talk to your mom.
But as he was talking to her mom, Gray had a hard time staying patient. She begins to kick and push the prisoner cage in the truck. But when she fails to break through, she simply gets out of the truck and hops in the driver's seat.
Paperwork and get you guys going. Oh,
Gray then speeds off down the highway, reaching speeds of 99 miles per hour and narrowly missing a van. But her joyride wouldn't last long as she approaches 2 cars, crashes into them, and then lands in a ditch off the side of the road.
How old is she?
16.
16 years old. Yeah, not a good start.
Gray was hospitalized with serious injuries and no one else was hurt. The corporal said he didn't handcuff her while she was in the back of the truck because she was not doing anything violent. DACA recipients around the nation are relieved after President Donald Trump's deadline for the program has come and gone. The deadline was yesterday and a bipartisan solution to immigration was not reached, although President Trump had promised back in January one would arrive by now. And stay tuned, Jackie will be back with your national forecast.
But first, New Mexico's pecans may be available to a lot more pecan lovers. More on that when News 22 continues.
Hi, I'm Diane Frank. Since joining KRWG as membership manager, I've learned that I'm one of 75,000 viewers who tune into KRWG every week, but one of only 1,500 viewers who are members. PBS has meant so much to me since I was young, and now I have a chance to give back by ensuring that we have high-quality programming for everyone. Won't you join me? We're looking for 100 new members to join during this spring festival. Please call the number below or go online to krwg.org. Become a part of what makes KRWG great, our members. Thanks.
Registering to vote in New Mexico is easy. Forms are available at Department of Motor Vehicles offices and your county clerk's office. And those with a driver's license or other state ID may register to vote online at sos.state.nm.us. You must be 18 years old at the time of the next election. Voting is a responsibility of citizenship. This message brought to you by KRWG.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Tuesday,
where news matters.
On Tuesday, voters from all over the Lone Star State will be casting their votes in the Texas state primaries. In El Paso, the Democratic primary has given residents an opportunity to send the first Latina to represent Texas in Congress.
Judge Veronica Escobar is facing off against 4 other candidates in her attempt to make history. The winner of the Democratic primary is expected to win the House seat in November, as El Paso is widely regarded by political experts as one of Texas' most liberal cities. Whoever is elected to office in Texas will immediately have to deal with one of the state's most pressing issues: water usage rights. A solution remains unclear as the U.S. Supreme Court is forcing the issue of who owns the rights to the water in the Rio Grande back to an arbitrator. Texas took the case against New Mexico to the High Court in 2013 in an attempt to stop New Mexico from pumping water from the Rio Grande. Texas wants the water so that they can send it to farmers in the southern part of their state. Both states are currently waiting on the final ruling.
Get ready to start seeing a lot of commercials about pecans. It was announced that a nationwide pecan marketing campaign on the scale of the famous Got Milk ads of the 90s will begin this spring. Though pecans are common in the southern states, the campaign is meant to promote the northern states, where they are mostly viewed as a baking ingredient for pecan pies. The ad campaign is set to launch in April of this year. New Mexico is proud of its Western heritage, and this past weekend that heritage was celebrated here in Las Cruces.
It happened at the Farm and Ranch Heritage Museum, and Michael Romero was there and when the horses ran and the gunshots started.
It looked and sounded like the Wild West, a gunfight that left 3 men dead on the ground and a mother who was upset about it. That's one type of shooting. Another was a mounted shooting competition, where horseback riders at full speed shot at balloons.
So it's kind of like barrel racing, except we have 2 revolvers with us, and we go as fast as we can, and we shoot at 10 balloons. And the object is to hit all 10 balloons, and we shoot blank, so it's very safe. We can have spectators, and we shoot all 10 balloons going as fast as you possibly can. It's a lot of fun.
After a hard day of riding horses and shooting, the cowboys and cowgirls needed something to eat. So there was homemade biscuits and chili. This is the 19th annual Cowboy Day at the Ranch and Farm Museum, and Rachel says this is the most popular event they have had all year long.
lots of people from El Paso, Deming, Alamogordo, Albuquerque. Some of our vendors even come just because they enjoy the event and they like to be a part of it.
Over 3,000 people came for the 2-day event. People came from all over. It is a great way to spend quality time with family.
I want to go ahead and make a correction. It's Michaela Romero, not Michael Romero. Sorry about that, Michaela.
And going off of that, a new study suggests that telling your teens to diet may have unhealthy consequences for them later.
Here's Zach Covert with today's Health Minute.
A new study from the journal Pediatrics suggests that encouraging teens to diet may affect their weight and emotional health as an adult. The study also says this encouragement to diet not only negatively impacts the teen who's being asked to lose weight, but it may affect their children too, as they are more likely to do the same with their kids. To help teens build a positive and healthy body image, start healthy habits when they are young. Be the example. If they see a parent eating healthy, they are more likely to develop that habit. Trying to bribe children to eat vegetables or punish them if they don't? Try teaching them to grow the food, nourish, and then make cooking with vegetables fun. Encourage a positive body image. Teach teens about the different body types and how one is no better than the other. For today's Health Minute, I'm Zach Covert.
We may think it's chilly here in Las Cruces, but some people are actually getting that snow.
Very, very right. Jackie is next with our national forecast.
Thanks, guys. We're going to take a look at temperatures across our nation. Lake Tahoe is looking at some nice sunny skies, sitting at a nice 49 degrees. Aspen and Jackson Hope is looking at partly sunny skies. Kansas is looking at some nice sunny skies at 42 degrees, as well as Little Rock at 54 and New Orleans at 62 degrees. And over here up in the northeast is where they're actually experiencing some a lot of snow. So up in the New York and Boston areas, that's where they're really looking at some chilly temperatures, dropping down all the way to 35 degrees and lower. And in Tampa, they're actually super warm up there with a temperature sitting at 70 degrees tonight. And in our next map, we're going to look at the highs for tomorrow. In Seattle, they're looking at some thunderstorms sitting at 50. Sacramento, some cloudy skies at 67 degrees. Los Angeles is sitting at 74 degrees with some partly cloudy skies. Aspen is looking at some nice sunny skies again at 49 degrees. Little Rock at 57 degrees. Chicago, partly sunny skies sitting at a chilly 36 degrees. And Nashville, they're looking at some partly cloudy skies with a low of 45 degrees. Now that's all I have for your national forecast. We're going to take a quick break, but I'll be back with your New Mexico weather.
Fresh Air with Terry Gross, weekday mornings at 11 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
The Bee Gees live in concert, recorded in Melbourne, Australia during their 1989 One for All tour.
And it's me you need to show. How deep is your love?
Wednesday at 10 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
Take a sentimental journey back in time. It's the greatest music from the big band years.
Pardon me, boy, is that the Chattanooga choo-choo?
Yes, yes. Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. I am Mr. Jackson, everything so.
Wednesday at 7 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at your highs for tonight. Farmington is going to be sitting at 41, Santa Fe 40, Albuquerque 50, Clovis 44, Socorro 49, Roswell 51, and Deming at 55 degrees. Tomorrow your highs are looking like 56 degrees in Farmington, 55 in Santa Fe, 61 in Albuquerque, Clovis 62, Socorro 65, Ruidoso 57, Roswell 65, and Deming at a nice 70 degrees. Now taking a look at Cities near our area, Alamogordo is looking at some partly cloudy skies, sitting at a really chilly 28 degrees tonight. And tomorrow they're looking at some partly sunny skies with a high of 67 degrees. And Truth or Consequences, they're also looking at some partly cloudy skies with a chilly 35 degrees. And tomorrow they're looking at some mostly sunny skies with a high of 69 degrees. Silver City, they're looking at clear to cloudy skies tonight with a really low of 29 degrees. And tomorrow they're looking at some nice sunny skies sitting at 64 degrees. And here in Las Cruces, we're looking at a low of 34 degrees with some partly cloudy skies. And tomorrow we're looking at mostly sunny skies with a high of 71 degrees. That's all I have for your New Mexico weather. I'll be back later with your 5-day forecast. But for right now, back to Javi and Selena at the desk.
Remembering a legendary battle containing a massive fire and stopping a knife attack.
These are the stories that make up today's Southwest Minute.
On Tuesday, hundreds of people gathered at dawn to mark the 102nd anniversary of the Battle of the Alamo. The battle began when thousands of men were ordered by General Santa Anna to attack about 200 Texans at the Alamo before sunrise. While the Texans were defeated, the battle has stayed in American folklore as a shining example of the American spirit. About 200 soldiers and family members were evacuated from Fort Carson, Colorado on Sunday ahead of a massive forest fire. The soldiers and their families were evacuated due to concerns of smoke inhalation. No injuries were reported, and the cause of the fire is currently under investigation. A woman is in custody after she allegedly held a 3-year-old girl at knife point and stabbed her mother. The mother, daughter, and their attacker were on a bus going to California from Las Vegas when it happened. Passengers say that the woman grabbed the 3-year-old and started hitting her. She then stabbed the mother and held the child at knife point before 2 passengers and the driver finally subdued her. I am Ray Gonzalez, and this is the Southwest Minute.
And it's that time of the year again. It's time for the WAC tournament, and our NMSU basketball team leaves tomorrow morning.
And hopefully the Aggie men and women can pick up some W's. Let's send it over to Megan with sports.
Thanks, guys. Coming up in sports, the Aggie basketball team wins honors and games. Find out more when News 22 Sports returns.
Little Women is one of the most deeply loved books in American literature.
I just had a story accepted by a publisher.
Oh, hail Josephine March! Celebrate! It was written by Louisa May Alcott in 1868, and now Masterpiece has chosen to produce it again. Please join us for a behind-the-scenes look. Little Women, a timeless story.
Wednesday at 9 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
Tune in and travel back through the hits from the 50s and 60s with Jukebox.
You know you make me wanna
A musical time machine from one of the world's finest vocal groups, Human Nature. With special guest Darlene Love.
Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
Get ready.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Get ready, get set. I'm Megan Millette, and let's talk sports. Both the NMSU men's and women's basketball teams are heading to the WAC tournament in Las Vegas as the #1 seeds. Both Chris Jans and Brooke Atkinson were named WAC Coach of the Year in their first year with the Aggies. The men's and women's teams also both had the WAC Player of the Year, Jamario Jones for the men and Brooke Salas for the women. Salas is the second Aggie in a row to win the women's award. Jones is the third straight Aggie to win it for the men. Both teams are playing Chicago State in the first round of the tournament. The NMSU baseball team continues to stay hot. Over the weekend, they won 3 out of 4 games against Harvard. On Friday, the Aggies won 11-5. Then on Saturday, they split the doubleheader, winning the first game 11-9 in 10 innings. Later, they lost the second game 5-4. Then on Sunday, the Aggie Bats came to life as they walloped the Crimson 23-4. Joey Ortiz was named the WAC Hitter of the Week. They are playing in SEC country this week. Tonight and tomorrow, they are playing Mississippi State. Then on Friday and Saturday, they'll take on Alabama. New Mexico State's Jaleel Scott is relaxing after a strong performance at the NFL Combine this past weekend. Scott ran a 4.56 40-yard dash, which is the second fastest time for a receiver over 6'4". He had 16 reps on the bench press and hit 34.5 inches on the vertical jump. He is eagerly awaiting the NFL draft in April. Competitors from the NMSU rodeo team rope in first place at the Fort Huachuca, Arizona rodeo. Savannah Montero, a senior at New Mexico State, placed first in goat tying with a 7.7-second run in the first round. In the second round, she had a 7.3-second run. She won both rounds in the average for the event. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Jackie will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, we bring you a quick look at a story coming up on tomorrow's show. More on that when News 22 returns.
The Bee Gees live in concert. Recorded in Melbourne, Australia during their 1989 One for All tour.
And it's me you need to show. How deep is your love?
Wednesday at 10 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
Live with vitality. Live with joy. Live with vibrant good health for as long as possible. Join me, Meredith Vieira, and discover the latest scientific advances and create a blueprint for healthy aging. In Incredible Aging, adding life to your years.
Saturday at 12:30 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
Let's take a look at our top stories. New Mexico State professors and athletic administrators were at odds with each other over $1 million that is being transferred to NMSU. But today, they decided to keep the funds in the academic budget instead of sending them to athletics. The United States Supreme Court has ruled in the dispute between Texas and New Mexico over the rights to water in the Rio Grande, stating that the water must go back to an independent arbitrator. And the New Mexico State pecan farmers will be a part of a nationwide campaign to promote the crop. The popular nut will be getting a push to be sold across the nation.
Jackie, a quick 5-day.
Yeah, so we're going to be sticking to the mid 70s throughout mostly the next 5 days, and we're sticking our lows. We're sticking to actually kind of closer to the mid 40s to the low 50s, so it's pretty cool.
And don't forget, you can catch all of today's aired stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page at youtube.com/KRWG News 22. That's all we have for tonight. Have a good night.
This news brief in Español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Los saluda con mucho gusto Raquel López en este breve informativo de Noticias 22. La mesa directiva de NMSU le pidió al Comité de Revisión Atlético explorar ideas para transferir recursos financieros del área académico hacia el Departamento de Atletismo. El propósito sería mantener el éxito reciente de los programas de baloncesto y fútbol masculino de la universidad. La universidad propone resignar más de $1 millón que actualmente están asignados al área académica del Departamento de Atletismo. Los fondos serían usados para aumentar salarios de entrenadores y para que los dos equipos puedan tener salarios competitivos frente a otras universidades. Actualmente el Departamento de Atletismo recibe más de $4 millones y los recursos adicionales representarían un incremento de 25%. La mesa directiva de NMSU también propone la idea de eliminar la deuda que el Departamento de Atletismo tiene con la universidad o reestructurarla a un calendario de pagos más extensivo. Mientras tanto, el Senado de Docentes se opone unánimemente del tema. Mañana tendremos más información sobre esta historia. Para Noticias 22, Raquel López.
Local support for a portion of today's programming is provided by Wells Fargo. Our support of Aggie students goes beyond just banking. By supporting News 22, we're giving back to the community. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far.